What is going on? Welcome back to Financial Journey. So today we're going to talk to you about Rivian. I want to go over some of the current data points, break it down, what's really been affecting it, and go over everything else that you need to know. But first, make sure to hit that thumbs up. And with that, let's get right to it. Starting off, Rivian is down 7.53%, 61.7 million shares being traded, 42.03 is the average. So you are seeing a lot of attention coming from institutions today. So these are all the transactions being done so far in the secondary market. I do anticipate a lot of big transactions after hours today, as today's the last day in Q2 for ETFs and institutions to rebalance. So that's obviously why as well there's been a lot of very abnormal volume for Rivian for this whole week. And then I guess aside from that, you also had a lot of big news that's been coming out. So in case you do not know, there was this that came out recently. So Rivian and Volkswagen with a joint partnership, but clearly it just went up too much too fast because that whole joint venture was only equating to around 5 billion. But the market cap of Rivian, I do believe went up like 8.5. So clearly that wasn't justified, right? It was just too overdone. And there's a couple of things that are really affecting Rivian today, one of which is PCE. So PCE did come in line with the forecast, just clearly it wasn't what the market did want, because the market wanted lower to justify rate cuts. And so for the September meeting, it went from around 61 to 57.9% for a 25 basis point cut. That's the likelihood. And then right now a 6.2% likelihood of a 50 basis point cut. So it's no matter what does happen in the market, like everything will come down to interest rate cuts. And then aside from that, there was one Form 4 that did come out after hours yesterday. And even though it's nothing really crazy, it just shows a sentiment. So it does show RJ did convert and then sold 71,000 shares. It was a transaction code S, so it is a straight up sale. And based on this, it was pre-planned as of March the 8th, 2027. So nothing really crazy. So it wasn't a spontaneous sell or anything like that. But I think if you take a step back and just look, I think one time like this is okay, but back to back kind of shows more of a sentiment. So recently at the beginning of June, so it does show right here, June the 10th, there was a transaction for equating to around $820,000 worth. And this most recent one right here with, or I guess a total dollar value of $803,000. So those are some of the attributing factors in my opinion that's causing it to go down. Also, more on a positive note, there was this that did happen, or I believe it was yesterday. So their investor day, so they kind of alluded to 5 vehicles that are unknown that should be coming out in the foreseeable future. So it kind of goes to show that Rivian is continuously innovating. And in my opinion, that's key for any EV for the foreseeable future, just to continue to innovate. So yeah, this was a 3 or just shy of around 4-hour live stream. So yeah, let me know if you guys did participate in that. And was there anything that stood out to you from that? And then aside from that, there was one other bullish kind of point, a lot of analyst ratings. So right here, these ones were reacting to the investor day, and those ones roughly 21, 14, 17, and $20 price targets. You can kind of see the firms and then the analysts right here. One negative side of anyone covering EVs, they do have very low success rates. So it's kind of better just to flip a coin, kind of, if that makes sense. So Alexander 46, Dan 39, 33%. So kind of bad. Then these ones right here are kind of reacting to that recent Volkswagen deal. And so I think that's good. You do see a lot of analysts very optimistic about that as well. It's a $20, 2020, 21, 13. So I think analysts are starting to become a little bit more optimistic on Rivian, because when it was at like the low 20s, like they were all giving high 20s, 30s, and I don't think any 40s, but they were giving very bullish ratings until it recently got hit and went down to like $8, $9 range. That's where analysts were becoming a little bit more bearish, but needless to say, a lot of bullishness is happening. So that's kind of what's been happening over this last several trading days. A lot of bullishness, a lot of grayness, and everything like that. Shorts, though, they've been really calling out the BS, not really believing it. Right now, shorts are increasing 1.4 million shares, works out to be 19.82% of the free float is being shorted, and that's about 140 million shares overall being shorted, and it did break the $2 billion mark, so it is worth around $2.01 billion of shorts out there, so very high stuff, and you can kind of just see what shorts have been doing. And so shorts have been calling out the BS about the whole validity of it going up as much as it did. I think it even touched 19 or very close to that. So yeah, it's interesting to see exactly what happens behind the scenes. Obviously, I'm bringing this up more of a sentiment rather than anything and more analysis. Definitely in Rivian is not a squeeze play in my opinion. Moving on, looking at options, $23 million in calls, 13 million in puts. Sentiment wise, 37% of all the options being done today so far are optimistic and bullish. And of the call options that are being purchased, there's a consensus for it to be above 15 by the end of next week. So more of a continuation of the bullishness. So after the consolidation has been concluded. On the flip side, you do see a low of sub $12. So we'll just have to wait and see what happens after hours if institutions do continue to buy up Rivian. It seems to be recovering slightly, but again, we'll just have to wait and see. Right now with it at $13.38, it is trading finally within this range because I had to move and revert to the 1 week prior when it was really rallying, but right now it is trading between this R2 and this R3, so $13.92 is that next strong resistance slash target. On the flip side, $12.66 is going to be that next strong support. So the technicals, in my opinion, are still relatively strong. Consolidation is necessary, especially on how much Rivian did go up very, very fast. And 9 times out of 10, unless it is extremely justified, anything outside the boiling band does get dragged back in. So I think this is completely normal if you ask me. You do see a start of a bearish deviation on stochastic as well, and plus it is at 64, so arguably considered overbought, so there might be some further consolidation to that point right here of the 1266, but as long as it does stay above that $11 mark, then the technicals on a larger scale are still relatively good. And you do see a number of retail investors kind of selling out ever since that massive spike. So yeah, it's a very interesting day, or just it's fun to be a Rivian investor, that's for sure. Like there's so much constant stuff, but beside the point, I think their investor day was absolutely key to really show that their future, in my opinion, is very, very bright. So let me know your thoughts. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up and subscribe. I always greatly appreciate that. Give yourself a shout out. Have you been buying? Have you been selling? What have you been doing with Rivian? One final thing. Take advantage of this promo. Simply sign up for a new account, throw $100 at it, and they give you 5 free stocks. Each stock is valued up to $2,000. So take advantage of this. Link in the description below and also the comments. With all that said, appreciate all of you watching.